Hey everyone, it's Kevin, and in today's video I'm going to tell you how I recovered from bulimia. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video, and if you want to speak with me, there is a link below. I also have a 14-day challenge, junk food domination. You can get started today. There is also a link below. I use YouTube to share my story, and if you want to do the same and start producing content, then check out Creative Business Academy. It was created by Estetino artists, Reet and Jewel. They are responsible for the thumbnails, and this channel would not exist without their help. Start your YouTube channel and start producing content today. Creative Business Academy, there is a link below. How did I recover from bulimia? Good question. It was really hard, but it didn't need to be. That's a summary of my whole story. It started back when I was in my early 20s. I stopped chewing and spitting, and then I progressed to bulimia. I started going to binging and then fasting and then binging, laxative binging, purging. One way or another, I had to get rid of all of that fat and sugar that I had ingested. Bulimia, in a way, is kind of a rational attempt to recover. It's a rational attempt to repair the damage that you've done. It's a rational attempt to correct things, to return to homeostasis. It's a vicious cycle, and the sooner you stop it, the better. And I'm going to give you some practical tips, because I don't want you to spend the next 5 or 6 years of your life trying to figure it out. The first thing you need to do is to accept that you have a problem. If you're watching this channel and you've subscribed, you probably understand that you have the problem, okay? You're binging, you're purging, you're binging, you're compensating. It's like, how do I get rid of this? How do I stop this? So you've probably already accepted it. So the first step is usually not that hard. It's the second step, it's a little harder. The second step is to believe that today is the day that you start ending the process. Now, let me explain. You start the process. It doesn't mean that you stop in one go. It doesn't mean that you stop in one day. It doesn't mean that you recover in one night. That's usually not how it works. But what you need to start doing is to start making better decisions right now. And that means you can just substitute one food for another. It could mean not purging for one day. It could mean not going to the gym for 3 hours just today. It could be what I call a mini quit. A mini quit is when you promise to yourself that you're only going to quit for a day, maybe even just a few hours. Maybe you have this inclination to go eat 3 or 4 donuts in the break room because somebody brought donuts again, those damn donuts. And you say, okay, not today, maybe I'll have it in the future. And I love that statement. Not today, maybe later. And when you do that, you trick your own brain, because when you say, I'm going to stop bulimia, I'm going to recover from bulimia today, it elicits the alarm bells in your brain, because that's too much. Your brain is lazy. It's not your enemy, it's just lazy, and it likes to do what it's always been doing. It likes to maintain that status quo. And when you decide to make too much change at one time, it sets off that alarm in your head. So you don't want to do that. Now, what's the workaround? All you do is say, I'm going to make one better decision today. I'm going to have a salad instead of having the ice cream. I'm going to skip the late night binge, or I'm just going to have a little bit of fruit, and I'm going to skip the cookies and the cereal and the ice cream, whatever else you eat at night, just for today. I'm just going to make one better decision. And that's a way to circumvent the problem. It's a way to get past the gatekeeper. Because if you promise too much, or you say, today's the last day, or I'm never going to eat this again, it's like beep, 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 beep. But if you only make one better decision, it doesn't raise the alarm bells. So consider a mini quit. It could be as little as one decision, or just a few hours. It could be an intermittent fast. It could be not eating for 12 hours, like going through the night, or it could be one day. We assume that something is going to be easier in the future than it is today, and all that does is create more anxiety in the future. But that's how our brains are designed. But my problem was I kept thinking that I was going to change everything in one day, and that's not how it works. That's not how recovery is. If you've recovered, you probably know that it's not linear. It's, there's some bumps in the road. For some people, it's a few days. Good for them. Some people, it's a few weeks, maybe even a few months. You need to accept that. But it all starts with making one decision. That's all you have to do. If you tell yourself that all you have to do tomorrow is make one better decision, then you're probably not going to procrastinate, because it's not hard. How many decisions do you make about what you eat a day? Some science says 200. So what if you only made one better decision and then 199 bad decisions? Well, That's not great, but it's still an improvement. And in 6 months' time, you're going to notice a difference. A lot of people with eating disorders or a lot of bulimics, they don't want to recover because they're afraid of the weight gain. If I don't purge, if I don't exercise 4 hours a day, if I don't take the laxatives, okay, or if I don't fast 4 or 5 days, then I'm going to gain all this weight. What am I going to do? It's okay. It's a legitimate concern. Nobody wants to gain a bunch of weight, but I think what you need to do is to accept a temporary increase in that weight, because when you get rid of the purging and the compensatory behavior, yeah, there's probably going to be a rise. Because if you're binging, but then you get rid of the compensatory behavior, now you're just a binge eater. So you will gain a little bit of weight, but I'm telling you, you've got to stop the process somewhere. It's best to stop it before you binge, but you've got to stop the purging parts too. I don't care where you stop the process, just stop the process somewhere. Put a wrench in the machine. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Don't be afraid of the temporary weight gain. You can always lose weight. It's not like you gain weight and it's there forever. You can take it off, especially if you do it the right way. That's a topic for another video. The next thing you need to do is to accept the costs. What do I mean by that? When you break a habit, when you overcome an eating disorder, when you overcome bulimia, there is a cost. You're not going to have that flood of salt, sugar, and fat into your brain. You're not going to get that experience. You're not going to have that high. You're not going to sit in front of the TV and eat ice cream without limits. It's kind of fun to be sloppy. It's fun to have no limits. It's fun to live it up. But there's always a bill to pay. And just keep that in mind. And I think a lot of times disordered eaters don't want to stop the eating disorder, as destructive and unhealthy as it is, because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to cope. What is my life going to be without this? What problem am I going to have? There needs to be some problem in your life to make it fun. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive. It sounds like a paradox. Like, I want to get rid of problems. Well, no, you don't. You always need some challenge in your life. And for too long, this has been the challenge. This has been the New Year's resolution. Way too long. And so now, you're probably thinking, well, what am I going to fight? What am I going to overcome? What am I going to do? What am I going to do in my life without this bad relationship? I need this bad relationship. The truth is, once you overcome bulimia, you're probably going to find other problems. In fact, I promise that you will. But what you need is better problems. You don't need to be binging and purging. You need to find, I don't know, any other problem. We are problem seekers as humans. So trust me, when I say this, you will find other problems. Other problems will fill your life. But they're going to be better problems. So don't be afraid of losing the pleasure. That's just your brain talking to you. You don't need this massive influx of salt, sugar, and fat to be happy and to have a meaningful life. In fact, your life is probably going to be much better. But you have to convince yourself that it's going to be better. And a lot of times, addicts and disordered eaters, they don't want to recover because they think that they need this, that they make this calculation in their mind that the eating disorder makes their life better. It's better to binge and purge today than to not. That's the calculation that they're making in their brain. It is a choice, okay? Eating disorders are a choice. I know it's controversial, but that's the truth. But you have to believe that your life is going to be better overall if you don't do this. As long as your belief is, my life is better today with the eating disorder, you're not going to start the recovery process. And that was the calculation that I was making for so long. My life is better with all this food than without. I can always recover tomorrow. I can always wait till tomorrow. Well, that turned into several years. Had I started making one better decision, and I started that process, and I rejected the idea of the overnight transformation, my journey was a lot easier. It allowed me to make mistakes. It allowed me to fall down and get up. It's not like there's this one day where I ended my eating disorder. You know, confetti didn't fall from the sky. I don't remember the date when I became normal. That's just not how it works. But I do remember when I started the process and I rejected the idea of a perfect recovery. Focus less on what you're losing, which is the temporary pleasure, and focus more on what you're gaining. You're gaining a lot. Improved health, improved confidence, body image, lower weight. You can wear new clothes again. You're not destroying your teeth and your esophagus. The list goes on and on and on. So you're gaining a lot more. The problem with our brains is that they are risk averse. People would rather not lose something than to gain something. So in other words, they would rather play not to lose than to win. So if you go to a casino and you win something, you want to keep what you've earned. You don't want to bet it again to earn something greater. They've done all sorts of experiments on this, and that's how our brains are. We like to preserve and conserve, and we don't want to lose it. We don't want to bet what we have to get something greater. But that's the mind of an investor, okay? So when you overcome bulimia, you have to think like an investor. I'm giving up this temporary pleasure for something much better in the future. But you have to believe that you are getting something better. And as long as you believe that the pleasure today exceeds the future reward, you're stuck. I've talked a lot about making better decisions. Focus on making better choices about what you eat. So you don't have to completely overhaul your diet. I made a video last week about transitioning to a plant-based diet, and one of the points I made is that you should not go from a standard American diet, which is not good, to a whole foods plant-based diet in one day. You could probably do it in a few months, but why not make one substitution? Why not just make one change? So take an interest in nutrition, which you probably already do. In fact, many disordered eaters know too much about nutrition and too much about food for their own good. I think a lot of times it's not the information, it's the execution. But instead of having chips as a snack, have an apple. Instead of having ice cream for dessert, have Greek yogurt with blueberries. Instead of stopping at the fast food restaurant for your breakfast, why don't you just have a bowl of oats, a banana, maybe some scrambled eggs, whatever it is that you like. With a little bit of preparation, you can make much better choices. But like I said, don't change everything in one day. Just focus, take inventory. What did you eat yesterday, and what's one thing that you can improve? Do that for 30 or 60 days, and you've completely overhauled your diet. So what have we learned in this video? Focus on small decisions, make better choices about what you eat. Have a sense of urgency. I didn't mention that, but having a sense of urgency and believing that today is the day to start that process, to start making changes, to start living a better life, that's really important. Our brains don't like urgency. Our brains like to take it easy, relax. You need to have a sense of urgency. And what I mean is you need to believe that taking action now is really important. You don't have to change everything in one day, okay? You don't have to overhaul your life. You don't have to change every bad habit. You don't have to eat a super healthy diet tomorrow when you just binged and purged today. I'm not talking about that. But you do need to believe that today is the day to start that process. Start the process today. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Our brains like to procrastinate. Start it now. It starts with small decisions. I think successful people have this sense of urgency. And I think that's one of the things that separates the successful from the unsuccessful, is they take action now. They believe today is the day to start doing things. Don't put things off. Do it now. Do hard things when they're easy. So what did we learn in this video? Have a sense of urgency. Believe you have a problem. Believe today is the day to start that process. Don't change everything in one go. Focus on small decisions and mini quits. Even if you quit for a few hours or one day, or you make one better decision today, that's an accomplishment. Make one substitution today and then do that for 60 or 90 days. And don't be afraid to gain weight initially. You can always lose that weight later, but you need to stop that process as soon as possible. Hope you found this video educational and entertaining. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to speak with me, there is a link below. Also, don't forget to check out the Creative Business Academy. If you want to start a YouTube channel or you want to start producing content, then check out the Creative Business Academy. It's created by Essetino artists, and without them, this channel would not exist. They create the thumbnails, and they also provided me very useful guidance on starting a YouTube channel. So if you have a story or idea that you want to spread with YouTube, then check out the Creative Business Academy. There is a link below. If you liked this video, I'm sure you'll like one of the other videos that you see on the screen. Click one of them, and I'll see you there.